This past summer, our national political conversation was consumed by debt ceilings and deficit reduction. Our leaders in Washington, D.C. were single-mindedly focused on cutting spending and cutting services. Issues of social justice and economic equality sat neglected and ignored on the political sidelines. The Occupy encampments that appeared across the country, including Occupy Los Angeles, have changed this one-sided conversation. The movement has awakened the country's conscience. It has given voice to those who have not been heard, to the middle-class families who are struggling to make ends meet, to the students who have graduated into a job market short on prospects and possibility, to the homeowners who, through no fault of their own, have fallen on hard times and have lost their homes and life savings. To all of the people who are afraid that the American dream is growing more and more elusive. Now, after this initial success, the movement is now at a crossroads. It's time for Occupy LA to move from holding a particular patch of parkland to spreading the message of economic justice and signing more people up for the push to restore the balance to American society. Now, from the start, we've said that a long-term encampment is not sustainable in City Hall Park. This is true for reasons of public health, this is true for reasons of public safety, and for the security of the encampment itself.
And politically for you.
It's time to close the park and repair the grounds so that we can restore public access to the park. Today, I am announcing that City Hall Park will close on Monday, November 28th at 12:01 a.m.
Mic check! The General Assembly's response to the City of Los Angeles. Para todos todo, para nosotros nada. For everyone, everything. For us, nothing. As a collective, Occupy Los Angeles would like to express their rejection of the City of Los Angeles' alleged proposal that we leave City Hall by November 28, 2011, in exchange for an apparently now rescinded offer of a 10,000 square foot building, farmland, and 100 SRO beds for the homeless. And there is more response, and people have it. If you'd like to know it, Mayor, then I can share it with you.
What happened to the 72-hour notice?
Thank you. We're asking the participants in the Occupy LA encampment to begin to pack their belongings and to leave City Hall Park in an orderly manner. I'm proud of the fact that this has been a peaceful, nonviolent protest. It has been peaceful because we decided to do things differently here in Los Angeles. We've not stared each other down across barricades and barbed wire. From the start, we've talked with one another and we've listened to each other.
You would talk to the General Assembly.
I trust that we can manage the closure of City Hall Park in the same spirit of cooperation. To facilitate a peaceful and orderly departure from the park, we will take the following steps. 1. Officers with the General Services Police Department will walk through the encampment, handing out bilingual flyers with information about the park closure. 2. Social workers will also walk through the encampment to inform people about social and public health services that are available. 3. Starting Monday, we will make 50 shelter beds available for those individuals from the encampment who are homeless and will need an alternative place to spend the night. We will make nearby parking available to make it easier for people to move their belongings and their personal property. Finally, we will honor the spirit of free expression embodied by Occupy LA and keep Spring Street steps open during the rehabilitation of City Hall Park. These steps have traditionally been the place that Angelenos have gathered to exercise their fundamental right to free speech. We will keep these steps open so that the participants of Occupy LA and other groups of Angelenos will continue to have access to this vital forum. Now, we've worked hard and will continue to work hard to ensure that this chapter will be known as the peaceful nonviolent event that reminded our city of these essential truths. We cannot and we must not neglect social justice. We can't turn a blind eye to the growing economic inequality in our midst. And we must make sure that all of our fellow residents have the opportunity to use their God-given talents to succeed in our society. Thank you very much. I'll have the Chief make a few comments as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to echo the Mayor's positive comments about the Occupy LA protesters. They have been law-abiding, by and large. They have been respectful, by and large. And they have made this 56-day occupation of the South and the North Lawn something that the city has been able to deal with in a way. But that way is now over. After 56 days of not enforcing 3 of the city laws that prohibit the use of that park, the time is now.
Mic check. The purpose of our communication is constructive. We, the people, have peaceably assembled in public space, seeking at minimum a full redress of grievances for the government's criminal mistreatment of the people and fraudulent abdication of fiduciary responsibilities, in large part to the interests of exploitative corporations and weaponized banks. One more piece, Chief. Elements within City Hall and the police, which we know to be fused with so-called Homeland Security, have said that they want to help us find an exit strategy. In fact, we, the people, are in the process of opening up a window of opportunity, i.e. an exit strategy for our public servants who desire a way out of the high corruption that we have allowed our governments to become. This includes public servants acting in good faith under difficult pressures, as well as those deeply disloyal to the spirit of their oaths and to the lives, liberties, and general welfare of we the people. There is more, and people can have access to it, and you, Chief, can read it if you want.
Today is merely the realization that the encampment is no longer sustainable and must end. It must end in order to rehabilitate the park, in order to maintain public safety, in order to maintain public health standards. That does not mean that Occupy's message must end. The mayor has made the west steps of City Hall available. It will continue to be available, and I think it's time for Occupy to grow its message in a different medium.
Chief, at 12:01 on Monday, what
Mayor,
plans
Mayor.
of action do you plan on taking then, 12:01?
12:01 is the date certain that the Los Angeles Police Department will enforce the laws against camping in City Hall Park. Now, that does not mean that we will physically remove people at 12:01. What that means is that after 12:01, we have the ability to enforce the law, which we have through our own volition not enforced for the past 56 days. But we want to do 2 things. We want to make sure that there is ample time for the Occupy LA people to move their stuff, to clear their tents, to take their property off the City Hall lawn so that my officers don't have to do that. But we also want to make sure that some of the homeless individuals, especially the shelter-resistant homeless that have encamped with Occupy LA, get every opportunity to take advantage of the 50 beds that the mayor has opened up, soon to be followed by another 50 later in the week. So it's really important to do this on 2 fronts.
Why weren't they already opened up? What happened?
Excuse me. It's really important to do this on 2 fronts. One, to make sure that people have the ability and the time to move out that are the protesters, and 2, that we take advantage of this opportunity to put people into shelter.
Mayor Villaraigosa, we have been, excuse me.
I'll allow members of the press to ask questions. I will take questions from members of the press.
Mayor Villaraigosa,
Mayor Villaraigosa,
Pacifica
you
Radio,
look-
KPFK.
Yeah,
Welcome to
there
the
was
New York
a
Times.
member of the press
Mayor.
was speaking to you, Mayor.
I-
I'm wondering
Pretty rude.
why you decided to engage in talks and reportedly offers of office space and other things with the protesters, and why you abandoned that strategy.
From the beginning, I have said that, and I started out today, I think very clearly acknowledging that the Occupy movement has shed a light on an issue that, frankly, Americans are grappling with every single day. And that is the disappearing middle class, the growing inequities concentration of wealth in a nation known for the American dream. From the beginning, we made it clear that we wanted to engage these people, and we have. We've talked with them, talked with them.
You've never addressed the General Assembly. Do not lie to us, please.
I won't speak to specific proposals. I'll only say that the one that you mentioned right now was not our proposal. It was something that was proposed. I said that I couldn't accept it. But that didn't mean that we didn't want to provide an alternative that would help to sustain the points, the ideas that these people have been shedding a light on. And so what we're saying is they will have an opportunity on the spring steps to protest, but they will do so under specific conditions.
Mayor Villaraigosa, Margaret Prescott, Pacifica Radio, KPFK.
Okay.
Pacifica Radio. One question we have information that not all members of council knew that you were making this announcement today. Standing behind you, we see law enforcement, we don't see members of council. Also, your political career was helped in part by the movements of Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and others, as well as labor unions that are standing
What's your
strongly. If
What's
you
your
let me
question?
finish, I asked one already, this is number two. Where are
Okay.
members of
Let me
council? Did
handle
they
one
know
question at a time.
that you were making this
Let me
announcement? And
handle one
secondly,
question at a time,
Okay.
please. Thank you very much. On the question of who is making this decision, let me be absolutely clear.
that wasn't my question.
I am
Members
making-
of council were
I am
informed
making
about
this
this
decision.
today, and where are
I
they?
am making this decision, and I have informed the appropriate, I've informed other members of the city council, but this is a decision.
Were
that the
all
mayor-
members of council informed?
This is a decision the mayor makes, and I've made it.
I didn't ask who made the decision, I asked
just
who was
shared with you-
informed.
I shared with you my answer. Any other questions?
Violation.
Mayor, Jeff Norman from the Huffington Post. Would you consider speaking to a coalition of veterans groups about the possibility of providing them with office space and farmland and so forth?
Absolutely. I've said from the beginning, farmland, I support urban gardens. I don't take issue with urban gardens in Los Angeles. By the way, so that we understand, I was the one when the private owner in South LA took away those 14 acres of urban land. I provided 9 acres in South LA for those farmers. I go and visit the farm all the time. I encourage you all to visit because it's clear to me that not enough members, even of the media, even knew that. There are now 9 acres of urban farmland in Watts that we provided not too long after they were evicted by that private landlord. We have made it an absolute priority in this city to do that, and we'll continue to do that. So if there are veterans groups or other groups who are interested in that, or the folks protesting here, we'd be more than happy to go.
Have you consulted?
South Central Farm should be back in the people's hands.
Excuse me.
How long are all the occupied folks being given to remove their items? If 1201 is a deadline, but not a deadline?
No. Let's be clear. It is, we are informing today that as of 12:01, at any time after that, we will enforce the curfew at that parkland, and we will enforce the law here at City Hall. We're making that absolutely clear. What we're not going to do is discuss the exact moment that the police will
Are you prepared to make
address that,
arrests?
just
Are you
because
prepared
that's
to
not
make-
something that...
Are you prepared to make arrests, she's asking?
Oh, let me be clear about something. We are prepared to make arrests, but that's not our intention. That's why we're giving people as much time as they can. Look, it took a couple of hours to put up these tents. it only takes a couple hours to take them down. I think we've all been camping in our life. We know how long it takes to put up a tent, and if we made it clear, but we're also going to provide enough time to continue to provide the beds for those who are homeless, who don't have alternatives, to
Think
do
50's gonna
everything
do
we
that?
can to
A lot of
give
people are homeless,
people-
the banks are foreclosing
to give
continuously.
people enough time to be able to do this.
Will you
No va
support
a haber tiempo de
divesting from the
negociación, señor
banks?
alcalde, no va a haber tiempo de
I'm
negociación.
gonna answer questions in Spanish, but if they're still.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell us
Who are
how,
you with?
Fox 11, can you tell us
How are you?
how you actually arrived at the 12:01 a.m. Monday? By your own admission here, you said it only take a couple hours, so why not enforce that as of tonight as opposed to then? And there was earlier talk about a 3-day, we're now at 55 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it's very important, first of all, to pick a date and time certain, so that people will know when they have to make their preparations by. But we want to be flexible. I want to be flexible. I want to make sure that I have given everybody the most reasonable opportunity possible to leave peaceable. I want to make sure that I have given everybody that will take a shelter the opportunity to do so. So I'm not going to, and the mayor is not going to say at 12:01 that we're going to start making arrests, because I don't know how well we'll have done in these efforts by then. And I want to make sure that when we do make arrests, and we will if we have to, that it is the people that won't go, not the people that haven't had time or can't go.
So was it the LAPD then that made the suggestion that the mayor accepted on the deadline?
Kate, I'm gonna answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, is it?
What was the question?
First of all,
Wait, what was the question?
What was the
1
question?
second, Chief.
Is tear gas, rubber bullets,
Look,
are those?
We're
things
gonna
off
use,
limits?
look, the goal here, and that's why we're giving people time, is to do this as peacefully as possible, to honor the experience that we've had up to now. This has been a good experience in the sense that people have had a right to protest. They've been vigorous about that right, but we've also had to make arrests in the course of these days, and we've done it in a way that I think both the occupiers and the residents of this city feel have been responsible and in a professional manner.
A lot of
We'll
people say they won't leave.
We
A
will
lot of people say
continue to
they'll
do
stay.
it that way. You work, and I understand that, you wanna make news. We're not gonna make news for you. What we're gonna do,
Violation of people's
we're gonna
rights
do
is
this
news,
in
I'm
a
sorry,
way,
in case you didn't know
we're gonna do
that.
this in a way that's respectful, but that's also very clear.
Will you support the move of some council members
Any
to
other
divest from Bank of
Excuse me.
America and other banks?
Why did you decide to stop enforcing the 3 laws in the first place? And is that part of what led to what is now something of a contentious situation?
Well, I think that we've talked about why we haven't been enforcing the park hours. It's because this is a national movement. This is a national movement that the city of Los Angeles wanted to accommodate as best it could. And it is my belief, and the mayor's belief, that we have done it. We have been reasonable. We have given 56 days during which this movement could put forth its message in a public park, which, by the way, nobody else has been able to use during that time period. And that's fine.
Why did you come to negotiate with us then, Chief?
Please let me
Please, why?
finish. Will you please let me finish? I'm answering this question. And so, we want to be able to restore that public park. We want to be able to make sure that the city of Los Angeles is safe. We want to ensure that public health is maintained as best we can, and the time is now. The time is right to do this.
And let me be clear that this was a collective decision, it was a decision that I made, but it was in consultation with the chief, with general services, with Rec and Parks, with a broad cross-section of people. But ultimately, I take full responsibility for the course of action that we've taken up to now and that we will take going forward, which is why I've been very clear. We'll give at 12:01, people know they have now time until then, and after that, we've made it very clear that any time after that, we will enforce these laws at this park. I'll tell you,
Maybe we
I
can-
know I have to do something in Spanish. The only reason,
On the
let's be
bankers.
clear, excuse me, let's be clear that we are live, and I want to make sure that I've answered as many. I don't think you're live, right?
We are.
No, I meant for, you guys are still
Regarding the
live.
kids camp, let me
We
just
are
ask you a
live.
question about.
I'm sorry, who you
I
with?
would like to, I'm with Stephanie Abrams with KCBS and KCAL.
Sure.
Regarding the kids camp down at Occupy LA, there are a lot of people down there who say they are willing to, once they get notice, leave peaceably. They're afraid of a type of raid. And they said they need a minimum of 72 hours. If come 12:01, they're not able to collect all their belongings and all the children's toys and all of the food, how will you be handling these families?
I think I've been very, very clear. Come 12:01, if there are people that still need a reasonable amount of time or a reasonable ability to get to shelter or to get their goods moved, then we'll give them that. You know, I am very, very interested in maintaining not only the momentum, the peaceful momentum that has been mutual between the Los Angeles Police Department and the Occupy LA folks, but I want to make sure that we show that the city of Los Angeles knows how to do this. That this is a city that realizes the importance of the First Amendment and has a police department, a mayor, and a council that support it.
Ahora voy a hacer algunas palabras en español y gracias por su paciencia, pero como dije, esta conferencia estaba en viva y quería dar respeto a los televidentes que estaban mirando esta rueda de prensa. El movimiento de Occupy despertó la conciencia del país, les dio una voz a muchos que no habían sido escuchados, a las familias que están luchando para ganarse la vida, a los estudiantes que se graduaron y tenían muy poca posibilidad de encontrar empleo, a los dueños de casas que perdieron sus hogares y ahorros. Y es hora de que Occupy LA pasa de habitar un espacio de parque a llevar el mensaje de la justicia económica a más personas en el país. Desde el principio hemos dicho que un campamento a largo plazo no es sostenible en el ayuntamiento municipal por razones de salud pública, seguridad pública y la seguridad del propio campamento. Es hora de cerrar el parque y repararlo para que luego haya acceso público al parque. Hoy anuncio que el parque en el ayuntamiento municipal estará cerrado el lunes 28 de noviembre a las 12:01 de la mañana. Les pedimos a los del campamento que empiecen a empacar sus pertenencias y abandonen el parque. Estoy orgulloso de que esta protesta ha sido pacífica y no violenta. Para facilitar una salida pacífica y ordenada, vamos a seguir estos pasos. 1. Oficiales del Departamento de Policía de Servicios General repartirán volantes con información bilingüe sobre el cierre del parque. 2. Trabajadores sociales del condado de la ciudad de Los Ángeles informará a la gente acerca de los servicios sociales que están disponibles. 3. A partir del lunes tendremos 50 camas en el albergues disponibles para las personas del campamento que no tengan hogar y que necesitan dónde pasar la noche. 4. Habrá estacionamiento disponible cerca del parque para que puedan mover sus pertenencias. Por último, vamos a mantener los escalones en la calle Spring abiertos como espacio para la libre expresión. Hemos trabajado muy duro para asegurar que este momento se recuerde como algo pacífico que nos recordó de algo muy importante. No podemos y no debemos olvidarnos de la justicia social. Si hay preguntas en español.
Alcalde, hay preocupación de que se repitan lo que ha sucedido en Oakland y en otros sitios al desalojar los lugares. ¿Cómo se va a controlar esa situación?
Mira, hemos tratado de seguir un camino muy diferente de otras ciudades. La verdad es la gran mayoría de los angelinos entienden muy bien que tenemos respeto y empecé este discurso diciendo que tenemos respeto con los logros de este movimiento. Al mismo tiempo, desde el principio he dicho que tener un campamento en el ayuntamiento municipal no es sostenible indefinitivamente. Desde el principio he dicho que hasta este movimiento quiere seguir por otro camino y estamos dando ese movimiento otro camino en darles los escalones de Spring Street. Estamos diciendo que recuerdes que el ayuntamiento municipal es el área donde todos pueden venir, los que están en acuerdo con el gobierno y los que no están en acuerdo. Hasta este momento, ellos no han tenido acceso al ayuntamiento y esos escalones.
Mike check, para todos todo, para nosotros nada.
Y al fin, creo que la gran mayoría de la gente entiende, como dijo la compañera, yo estoy aquí porque había un movimiento de derechos civiles, un movimiento que abrió la sociedad para un alcalde llamado Antonio Villaraigosa. Al mismo tiempo, yo tengo la responsabilidad de asegurar que ellos y otros tienen el derecho de expresarse, pero al mismo tiempo que tenemos el orden, que protegemos la propiedad privada y pública y que entendemos muy bien que también tenemos una responsabilidad para la salud pública y la seguridad pública.
Señor alcalde, ¿no va a haber tiempo entonces para negociar con los inconformes?
Hemos hablado, hemos tenido discusiones con ellos por días y días. La verdad es que hemos puesto este día como el día donde vamos a empezar a aplicar la ley, asegurar que podemos cerrar el parque y darnos al mismo tiempo su derecho de expresarse.
¿Por qué esperar hasta el último minuto? ¿Por qué esperar hasta el último minuto, por favor?
Excuse me, we had 20 minutes in English. We're going to give Spanish-speaking reporters their time too. So I'd like to...
Sorry, I gotta run out for a live.
Well, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We have in the deadline too.
There are some
Thank you,
other
Mayor.
press outlets here.
Thank you. ¿Por qué esperar hasta el último minuto o en estos días colocar letreros alrededor de la Casa Alcaldía donde dice que desde las 8:30 de la mañana hasta las 10:30 de la noche es el tiempo que pueden estar alrededor de la alcaldía, pero ya luego de ese horario ya nadie puede estar allí? ¿Por qué colocar esos letreros alrededor de la alcaldía?
Porque queremos dar noticia, porque queremos informar, pero por semanas y semanas he dicho muy públicamente, cuando ustedes me hacen la pregunta si era sostenible quedarse ahí indefinitivamente, he dicho muchas veces que no. Y hasta los protestantes de los otros países, ciudades, se han fijado, expresarse en esa forma no es algo que puede ser sostenible por meses y meses y meses. Al fin he hecho la decisión, esta decisión es mía y acepto la responsabilidad por esa decisión.
Gracias.
Pero en concreto, ¿qué va a pasar con los que no se quieran salir? Porque sé que todo se quiere llevar de una manera pacífica, pero a veces no se puede. ¿Qué va a pasar con ellos?
Al fin, has visto, cuando hay un orden de la ciudad y por ejemplo, hace unos días, hace una semana, cuando había unos protestantes y no querían dejar una área de propiedad privada, cuando no querían salir, cuando querían quedarse, arrestemos a esos manifestantes. Eso no es el logro y la meta. La meta es informar y decir que a las 12:01 lunes en la mañana, vamos a aplicar la ley y por eso queríamos tener esta conferencia. Thank you very much.
Chief,
Gracias.
Chief, if I could
Mayor.
get a question in, now, I came back, I've lost my life shot, you could ask me.